Today in the crypto space, we see the market getting a slight bounce to the upside. Bitcoin right around 67,000. Ethereum slightly above that $3,500 mark. We have some of these altcoins that are still deep in the red. However, XRP is doing pretty good with a nice fat bounce to the upside, 5% for XRP. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one large cap that is doing pretty good in the last little while and potentially looking for consolidation, and that project is called Solana. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish, bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. We see the overall market cap getting a slight bounce to the upside, of course, led by Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now looks like it's trying to break back into structure as a swing failure pattern, coming down to lower levels and all of a sudden getting back into structure. It does suggest that the bulls could be trying to get back in control of the market. We see a bit of trading volume to the upside, which is pretty healthy, as we do get this relief to the upside within the market cap. So that's pretty good. If we continue going, scraping through this top 100, we see a bit of relief. We do see a bit of relief, a little pop to the upside across the market. Bitcoin, Ethereum, we have BNB getting a bit of it. Solana, not so much, but still a little bit. We have XRP today doing very, very well, 5.6% to the upside. That's not bad considering, but big picture, the reality is XRP still at the bottom of the range. Like, there's nothing structurally bullish about way XRP is positioned at the current moment. I have to be real about this. You know, it is up 5.6%, but if you look at the chart, it's still at the bottom of the range and it's at range lows. And okay, fine, maybe it's going to get a bounce, but what we really want to see is it basically gonna break structure to the upside? Are we gonna get a move where we're gonna start going bullish or not? Right? If we continue within the range, it's still sideways. It's still a stable coin in my opinion. If we keep on going down, Toncoin kind of rolling over here, potentially that hang time looking quite heavy there and maybe rolling over. However, we can see a bit of relief throughout the market, a little bit of a pop, just little ones. Now, don't get too absolutely bullish here, because if Bitcoin gets that rejection off of previous support now acting as resistance again, guys, it's likely that the bears are going to get back in action and start pushing it down again. So I want to show you what I mean using the Bitcoin chart, because really we don't want to be scaling in too quickly. Also, obviously, too heavily, meaning position size is also important to control, but also the frequency. If you deploy too quickly, eventually your position size is going to grow, yes, over time, but ultimately what you want to do is deploy capital when the opportunities exist, which means on really red days. Now, if you've been scaling in the last little while, you've noticed that the price has been kind of going sideways. It's pretty range bound. So although we do get negative days, as long as we are still within range, I feel like, taking a bit of a break from DCing and waiting to see if we break further down is not a bad idea. However, still building positions with stop losses also, a smart thing to do once we build the structure. So this is where we're at now. Do we continue deploying, or do we slow down a little bit? And I think Bitcoin is going to be a great leading indicator to give us some signals. Near protocol coming down to lower levels, unfortunately making those lower lows still, and we continue going down throughout the market. You can see a lot of lower lows and a lot of lower highs. Caspa doing the same thing. We have Aptos doing the same thing, and many others making those lower lows. And you know, they do look like they're weakening off. Those lows, those impulsive moves to the downside, they look like they're weakening off, which is a good sign for the bulls to now, you know, come in and step in. But until we make a change of character within the structure, I can't get bullish in the short term. Big picture, yes, guys, we're still bullish, but in the short term, maybe the 4 hour, the 1 hour, it does look bearish still. Injective coming down to approximately 11.5%. That's a decent dip, guys. Double-digit dip within the daily, and we have 23% dip within the 7 hours, you know, the 7-day, which means that we have a good opportunity to start scaling in here on injective, guys. Definitely put it on the watch list. And of course, if you want me to cover any of these projects, including injective, feel free to join the live stream tonight at 7:30 Eastern, and we'll definitely put those requests in top priority. So we do have a few you know, bullish responses, some of them not as much, like Maker coming down with not much of a bullish response. VeChain just a very little one, but we do have some others that are looking better than others. That's the name of the game, guys. Some outperform others and they all take turns. But generally, guys, the market is still somewhat bearish here, okay? So be very careful. Get into super bullish positions at the current moment. We'll definitely take a look at charts tonight, but let's begin. I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin talking about, let's talk about Bitcoin. This is Solana. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? In the last little while, Bitcoin has been showing a little bit of strength, trying to break back into the structure. But until it does that, guys, we have to understand that we could get rejected, and use this little confirmation as a confirmation that we're going to get rejected and come down for another lower low. A back test like this is what the bears are looking for. The bears are looking for confirmations, and this is an optimal confirmation from a bearish thesis. Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. So we have to understand, as traders, what we look for is confirmations. We look for signals. We look for opportunities that the charts bring us, and ultimately, if the charts give us opportunities, we act upon them. And really, the reality is, if Bitcoin shows us strength in the market, we should see the rest of the market run, like the altcoins, of course. But in this current state, the bulls and the bears are fighting, and the bears at the current moment are getting a really good confirmation. Earlier on today, I was analyzing this, and on the Discord, I did give you my thoughts. My thoughts were, ultimately, we hit the 1.27 extension, which was really good. Could this be a swing failure? Could we be basically hunting liquidity at these levels to get back into the structure, which the structure is, generally speaking, considered a very bullish structure up here. It could be a bull flag. It could be a handle for this nice rounded cup down here, cup and handle formation. Now, we did sweep much lower levels, you know, potentially invalidating the cup, but it's still fine. At the end of the day, if we get back into the structure, back test the horizontal line that, you know, we used to use as support, which is right here at about 67,000, it's very likely that we start bouncing and potentially get back to the top of the range again, back to 72K, which would be super bullish. Now, from a bearish perspective, yeah, we could definitely come back to range lows, would still be bullish, because really, you know, we're in a big, massive bull flag, and we could definitely come down to the bottom of the range. But what I really want to focus on right now and share with you guys is this fractal. This fractal that we're trying to build, does it resemble a little bit of what happened right here? Look at this dip. Then we come down, break the lows, swing failure, sweep of the lows, whatever you want to call it. It could be a, you know, a trap, a bear trap. Then all of a sudden, back into the structure, back test the structure, and then go for the top of the range. What about if this happens right here, where we got the bottom, we come down, break structure, come to the downside, sweep the lows, get back into the structure, back test the structural support, and then go back to range highs? Very similar thing, right? So the reality is that we could be producing a very good opportunity here if we get back into structure. However, if we stay below the structure, guys, we're basically back testing it for resistance, to treat it as resistance, and then therefore we give the bears a lot of a you know, confluence and confirmation that we are potentially going to come down for another lower low and come down to range lows, and that would mean at about 60,500 is where we want to see where how the market reacts right here. Okay, so this is where we're at. The market right now is in hard mode because both the bulls and the bears have a bit of a thesis here. I would say the bearish thesis is a little stronger at the current moment, but if the bulls get the price right back into the structure, the bulls are going to come out to play again, and it's very likely that we get back to higher levels. Now, guys, what does that mean if you're a bull? That means, should you be deploying capital? It's very difficult because if you deployed capital right here in this yellow arrow based on risk to reward, a couple of things could have happened. You could have already got stopped out, which fair game, all fine. Or if you're still holding your position for whatever reason, if you're on spot and you decide, you know what, I'm just going to DCA, position size was small, the reality is you're pretty much at entry again. So it's not like you have to make some really major decisions because you're back at entry, almost pretty much at break even. So it's not bad of a scenario. What I would be doing, guys, ultimately is making sure that I reserve capital just in case we do come down to these levels. Now, if we don't, as you can see in the last weeks, months, we always have opportunities. There's always opportunities to be buying in, whether it be new projects or dips or, you know, something happens to a particular project where it comes down significantly, a bit of FUD brings it down significantly, you can be buying the dips and expect that recovery. There's a lot of good opportunities throughout the market, but the reality is at this current moment there's a bit of risk that it could be taken, and I don't really like getting into a long position until we get back into the structure. You can see that the momentum is pretty much in the chop zone. We're stuck in the mid zone of the oscillator, which means that we could go sideways. In addition, we could go sideways, which leads me to believe that I'd also expect the price to kind of chop people around. Choppy price action gets people wrecked. Okay, so sweeps of the highs and the lows happen in choppy price action, and we go sideways until, you know, maybe a consolidation or some sort of expansion happens. I do see volatility trying to get to the overbought scenario, right? We get a nice little bounce to the upside like we have done in the past, and we could see momentum get overbought because we haven't done that yet. So that's quite bullish, but ultimately we didn't even get oversold either right here on the daily. So that's a bit concerning. Now, some people might say, let's get onto the weekly and see what's been happening. Well, the reality is the weekly is suggesting that we could get oversold here on the weekly because we've been overbought for a bit. We got extremely overbought. Now, all of a sudden, what about a full reset of back to oversold conditions? And that would suggest a big correction on Bitcoin and obviously a bigger correction on the alts. But what about if we go for another sweep of the highs or we go back into overbought condition? Just keep in mind, in bullish runs, we stay up here for a little while, and sometimes our retracements are so shallow to the point that they don't really get a deep retracement. So what I really don't like, what I see here is Bitcoin really topped out on the weekly as it was in the past, and I would like to see if we do eventually, maybe make a consolidation for another leg to the upside here on the weekly, but still playing the daily is my interest. I want to see how this structure plays out. If we get back bullish, I'm expecting another run. Okay, so let's take a look at the trend. The trend is still EMAs are facing down. Red histogram bar is suggesting continuation to the downside. And of course, as I mentioned, momentum and the volatility is still kind of in a bearish stance. So not really crazy about going long in Bitcoin at the current moment. Now, if we want to take a look at Solana is a great example of what the altcoins could be doing very soon, which is at least going sideways, right? Neutralizing negativity. I feel like Solana is going to get into consolidation. I don't feel like Solana is going to dump too hard. I feel like if it does come back to range lows, it most likely will get a bit of a reaction at the 200 daily. That would be ideal. And what about if we get into some sort of triangular formation? And of course, let's put in a bottom horizontal and hypothesize, what about if we come down a little bit more? Even if the price comes down and touches that 200 daily EMA, it's likely to get that support right around here, and then we can kind of see it pennant out. And as we get closer to the apex, we can expect an expansion. Ideally, that expansion is to the upside, maybe hitting about $250 or so, maybe a little higher. We see how it goes. But in addition to that, if I were to get bearish, guys, there's nothing bearish below really a weak spot. We have only one little one right into here, a couple maybe right at lower levels. But the reality is, if we start breaking these lows down here, guys, I don't know where we're gonna go, because ultimately we have a lot of ambiguity down here, a lot of little nodes of supply and demand that could act as support. Could we get support here? or here or down here. You get what I mean? So what I want to see is Solana hold steady. I want to see Solana go sideways. It's a large cap. It's got a huge following in the sense that the ecosystem growth is massive. Lots of meme coins, altcoins being built on there. You know, it has a lot of a big community, of course. And if we can consolidate in here and eventually go for that expansion, it just means that Solana has a bit of time. We have a bit of time to accumulate. We have a bit of time to assess the market. If Bitcoin comes down, expect it to come down a little bit lower. But I'm going to get a little bit worried if we break below $1.18. Sorry, 118. If we break below $118, it's very likely that we start hitting lower levels. Maybe get some support at 90 or even 875. That would be an area of interest of mine to see how the market reacts, and then potentially DCA back in to my Solana bags, because at the current moment it does look like it wants to push down just a little bit more. But again guys, structure, wait for structure. I believe it's the beginning of the structure. Let's look at the 4-hour. What's going on here? It does look like the 4-hour is looking a bit weak. As you can see, we are getting a bit of a double bottom. You can see a little bit of divergence happening here on the 4-hour. As the price action is coming down and flatlining, the momentum is slowly rolling to the upside in oversold conditions. This is an ideal place to expect a reversal in the short term. So let me kind of show you what I mean here. These are going upwards, right? And you can also see the volatility also going upwards. And if you look at the background, the expansion waves, the red waves to the downside are also going upwards. Okay, and then if you look at the actual price action, the price action up until here has been coming down, right? So we're actually getting divergence right into here, all of this, and now we're making a double bottom, which is still divergence, class B bullish divergence. And then all of a sudden we can start looking for a pivot to the upside and maybe see Solana reclaim some of the previous price action and get back to range highs. But we could definitely see another sweep, another leg down. Divergences in, sometimes they come down from multiple drives. I know we've gotten a couple more, a couple of drives already, but ultimately I like this horizontal, right? If we do come down a little bit more, I'm interested. Solana at the current moment, I think, is in the structure, and we should let it play out, but just understand that in this retracement, I think we're towards the bottom of the retracement before we kind of maybe go back up. If we break below this low, guys, it's tough. It's very, very, very tough with Solana. So ultimately, we also have the trend looking okay in the sense that it did move to the upside, and we got a duck face. You guys know what I talk about when I talk about fake outs. They look like duck faces right into here, right? They opened up, the EMAs opened up again, green histogram bars again after the bullish divergence, 2 drives of it, and then all of a sudden the expansion is hesitant. Maybe we do see a continuation to the upside the next little while. Fake outs are basically liquidity grabs, right? They're meant to get people wrecked. They're meant to fund the market, and ultimately, if we can take risk at the right time, we could expect to be rewarded. I feel like this double bottom is pretty good here on the 4-hour to expect a short-term reversal. And then if you look at the daily again, why not expect it to come back to range highs or even come down to the 200 daily and get that bounce? So depending on how you want to play it, you want to play the 4-hour, it does look like it might want to get a bit of relief, but the daily still looking a bit bearish until we get confirmations of that reversal here on the daily. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. See you tonight, 7:30 Eastern, and don't forget, buy the dip.